My name is Amy Belil. I'm from GBGH, background emerge nursing, and I moved into informatics 14 years ago. I am the co-lead with Eileen Hooper on the advanced clinicals for CARE4. So today I am going to go over TAR, transfusion administration record. I am going to go off camera just so we're not glitchy and you don't see me making funny faces. Here we go. And I just want to mention at the beginning that I am scanning armbands and scanning the products on paper. So if it doesn't work the very first time, just bear with me because it's just the angle I'm holding the paper, and a little tougher a little easier when you actually have the product in your hand. So I'll do my best to make this work. Okay, so I won't share it quite yet. Actually, I will. Here we go. Let me know. Can you see my screen?
We can see it, Amy.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so TAR, transfusion administration record. What is this? So for 3 of the sites, we currently use TAR. This is net new for RVH, and we're very excited to be able to bring them on board and be able to electronically being able to scan and document transfusions. So TAR is utilized to document and edit all documentation related to blood products, blood transfusions. TAR is accessed via PCS, EDM, and SIR, and designed to enable online charting of blood transfusions from any patient location in real time. As a result, the most current transfusion data is posted to blood bank, your BBK, and to your electronic health record, your EMR. What's the benefits of using TAR? Definitely positive identification of patients for blood transfusions by scanning their armbands, minimizing the potential error with consistent procedure and processes. The ability to be able to monitor, document vital signs during the transfusion in the TAR record. The ability to be able to document any transfusion reaction and notifying lab immediately that this has occurred. The ability to document interim and total blood intake amounts throughout the transfusion. The integration of Meditech's lab application data files immediately to blood bank. The information readily available in the EMR blood bank panel. And the reports are available in blood bank as well regarding transfusion administrations. So here you can see the picture that I've just showed. I did demo this yesterday, but I want to show it again because this is TAR related. And this is our nurse scanning our patient. So you can see that the scanner that we're using is the handheld scanner, the Zebra model that we're using to scan that patient. The next picture you'll see is the Zebra scanner scanning the blood product. We have 2 barcodes that we need to scan, and the first being the upper one is coming from blood bank, the unit number, and then the second is the product number. Okay. So minimize that. So here you see our tracker. This is an inpatient at GBGH. Patient is in the ICU. This patient has come in with a ruptured AAA, so for sure they need lots of blood, but we're only going to give them 1 unit today. You can see that I have acknowledge in my column that the doctor has put in the orders and that I need to acknowledge the order for the blood bank. So in current world, we would, or in future states, should I say, we would acknowledge the order. The orders would be put in and processed to lab. But because of purposes for our demo today, we've already done all that back work. And thank you to lab for already getting our blood ready. And we have our bloods already issued and ready for us. So I will go into the acknowledge column. So as a nurse, you would need to acknowledge the orders of the blood bank. The type and screen was already done. So as a quick acknowledge, I would do the check mark, which acknowledges all orders, and click on acknowledge at the bottom. And then I would hit save. So now my orders are acknowledged. It's gone off to blood bank. They know now that we need this blood. Obviously, if it was a stat blood, we would be still making that phone call. But if it was routine or if it was in an ambulatory setting, or anything stat in emerge or in the surgeries, I mean, of course, we would be calling them and telling them that we need that blood now. I will open the chart. Actually, I just want to show you something first. So we'll go into the blood bank in the EMR, and I want to just review what you see in here as well. You can see that we have a red blood cell and an albumin 25% that has been ordered on our patient. It has already been issued, but when the lab first gets it ready for us, we would see it ready. You can see the blood type of O-pos. The antibody screen is negative. You can also click into the next field of blood bank test, and then you can also still see that detail of what is entailed with that unit. So we'll go back to our status board. So in our TAR column, you can see transfusion column that our blood is issued. So that one step prior to when lab first gets it ready, it goes at a ready status. Lab will still make the phone calls to those areas to say your lab, your blood is ready, come get it. So whether that be nurse, porter, clerk, whoever runs to get your blood, will head on down. What they will take with them in New World and future is the lab labels, because we don't have we won't have that chart. I mean, there will be some sort of chart in the inpatient world as well, but for identification for that patient, we need the name, date of birth, sex, etc. So we need to take that sheet of labels down with us. Once we have come back up, we've done our verification in lab back with them, and we've done our signatures. Lab will flip that status to issued. Somebody needs to mute. Thank you. Okay, so then once we come back up, we are going to get ready to hang our blood. So I will click into the TAR. So you can click in it. There's different ways you can get in it. So we can click right on your cell. It'll open TAR. You can open your chart, and you can head into TAR here as well. But most will just head in as soon as they see ready or see issued on the TAR in your status board. You will click right on that, and you will open. You'll see that both units are ready, and we'll open the TAR. So you can see here, this is our screen for transfusions. You'll see our first unit is ready. It's the albumin 25% in 100 ml, and our red cell concentrate is ready as well. You can see the status at issued. This was issued a day ago. Actually, sorry, it was ready a day ago. We got it issued early this morning at 8:44. And if there was any comments, any issuing comments or anything that the lab needed to communicate to staff, then they would enter in issue comments as well. And then you can see over here, we have the unit number, the lot number, and the expiration date and time, and what time it's been issued. You can still issue, you will get a flag at 4 hours to say, you're over your time. I mean, typically we're not that late getting our blood into our patients, but we do have that parameter set. Okay, so I will infuse the albumin first. So you'll see on the bottom that we have a verify button lit up. We have our document vitals lit up, and details. Details is just of the transfusion. So in TAR, you need to document your vitals here. If you document your vitals out on your work list, they will still go to the EMR and be documented, but they will not flow over to TAR, unfortunately. So the document of vitals do need to occur pre-transfusion in TAR. If you don't, it won't let you begin. There is a prevent. Now, in saying that, in the emergency cases, we are warned, and you can bypass that, and you can continue. You don't have to have the vitals in first. You can document them after. It's more of a warning. You'll get the pop-up. You'll just have to click and say, okay, but you'll be able to get through the system. But for inpatient or ambulatory, anywhere that's routine, or you're just giving that blood and it's not an emergency case, you do need to get those vitals documented first. So I will open up the doc vitals, and you'll see that we're documenting to albumin first. And in our parameters for documenting vitals, it's initially transfusion, Q15, Q45, and Q hourly thereafter, as per Blood Easy recommendations. So I will just quickly document some vitals here on our patient. I won't do a full vitals here just so we can get, I can show you what we're doing. If the patient was on any oxygen, of course I'd be putting that in. And let's just put in a blood pressure. Keep our patient really healthy today. Okay, so we will save and exit. You can see everything is green and until it's filed. So the same with TAR, and if you're in your MAR, anything that's green is not filed, file it, and then now you know you have it filed, and your vitals show now with your little little icon there showing that we have done our documentation. And then we will say, oh, there we go. Okay, so now our verify is lit up. So now we have to go in and verify our product. So you can see here on the screen, we can see just the information on the product. The verifying is being done now by me. And that's just a warning I have because of the browser. We will have to have our cosigner, and then we have our scanning. So net new for all 4 sites is the scanning. Up to now, we have done just manual checks. So now we have that extra check going in to see our patient, scanning that patient, and scanning the products. Okay, so let's scan our patient. So you're not going to actually physically see me scan, but you're going to hear my beep. And what you're going to see on that patient wristband is a barcode. Yay. So our patient is scanned. And we can see with the barcode here that the patient has been verified. And I can now, and because I'm doing albumin, so we have 2 products. We have unique and non-unique. And non-unique at a few sites are not actually in transfusions in TAR at the moment. So, but we have now put all products in, so we have unique and non-unique. So we don't have to be, we're not scanning any barcodes on the products, on our non-uniques. We are scanning the patient and we are doing our verified checklist. So this is manual. So this is myself and another nurse. And today my nurse is Elaine Hooper, and we're sitting down together and we are checking the order has been verified. The documents are documented. We have consent. We have patient identification, number when the product's available. And we do have that number in front of us. And I do have that albumin bag that I am looking at, and we are reviewing the number together. And we added in as well that, we are checking that bag, and before lab even gives us that, or blood bank gives us that bag, they are checking for that, but it's a double check, making sure that our bag is good. So you have the option to verify or verify and begin. But first we need to do a cosign. So before we can file that, we need to do our cosign. And again, I said today my nurse is Elaine Hooper, and Elaine has put her PIN in. So I'm just going to be Elaine right now, and there's Elaine's PIN. And then I'm going to click on verify and begin. And you do have to fill in your begin date and time. You can backdate this because we all know in the real world, it doesn't always happen right at the exact time that we need it to. You can see in here the container volume is 100 mils. That has already been put in the background in the blood bank module. And intake hasn't started yet, and we will fill that in once the product is done and making sure we have our ins and out correctly. And then we'll save. And once we save, now we can look in TAR. We can see that now our product is transfusing. So let's let that transfuse for a few minutes, and we will move on to the red cell, and we'll get that one started. And then I'm going to demo a reaction and how you would proceed with a reaction. So the red cell concentrate again is showing issued. That product is ready for me. Now I have just documented vitals. So we should be good. But let's see if we get our pop-up. So let's go in and verify our patient. So you can see on here, because this is a unique product, that I have to document, or I have to scan the patient's wristband, as well as the product unit number and the product. So the product unit number and the source registration number is one scan. So when I scan that big CS number at the top of the unit, it pulls in the source registration number as well and scans, and then I have to scan the actual product. Okay, so let's scan that patient again. Okay, so that patient, and then you can see that the field automatically went down to product unit number. So now I have to scan my product. And there you go. So you can see that the product unit number scanned as well as the source registration number. And now for the product. And the product is there and scanned. So then we move over to the verified checklist. So again, Elaine's sitting beside me and we are going over making sure the order is verified, consent is signed, visual check, no discoloration, clots, leakage, and bubbles, because we do need to make sure that is definitely not present in our red cells in any of our unique products. Patient identification, that we have verified the patient's blood type and that we have reviewed that. So Elaine and I are both looking at the unit. We're looking here, saying, okay, this patient is OPAS on the unit, same as we would be checking the patient's blood type and the product blood type and the unit number, and reviewing that unit number that is present here as well as what's on that product itself. And then we have the pop-up again that says verify or verify and begin. So we have to put in Elaine Hooper's name first. She's a busy nurse helping me today. She has to put in her PIN. And then we say verify and begin. And there's the pop-up I wanted you to see. So, I mean, not too often we'd be hanging both of those bloods side by side, but here is that pop-up I was talking about. So if you didn't do the pre-transfusion vital signs, you would get that warning and it will not let you continue until you go over and do your vitals. So now we're going to go in and do our vital signs, but I will just make this quick because you do not need to do a full set of vitals, but we would do a full set of vitals. You can see here that it's allowing me to do these vitals, but my patient is still verified. I will save and exit my vitals, and then I will go back in, and because I've already verified my patient, I don't have to go back in. I've already verified that unit. We don't have to go back and do that again. The button begin has shown up for me, so I can begin that unit. It'll show here, come in. We do need to say our begin date and time. We're starting it now. And then we have our container volume of 267 mils has come through. You can still see the albumin is going in below it, and I will save that. So then we see we've got both units transfusing. So I'm going to go back to the albumin, and now my patient, I've noticed my patient's having a reaction. So you can see on the bottom, I have the option to hold or end, depending on what the reaction is, obviously, whether you're going to completely end that transfusion altogether, or are we just going to put it on hold and call the doctor and document this transfusion reaction. So for rate purposes of today in this demo, I am going to put it on hold. I'm going to say that I'm putting it on hold right now. And we're going to say that we're calling the physician. And we're going to save that. Now it's going to make me put in there. Okay, so you can see that now that status is at hold, and we're going to document that reaction. So this is our document reaction assessment. So we're going to say we had a transfusion reaction. These are all our reaction symptoms, and this is built that we built this out of the Blood Easy as well with Blood Bag. You would need to document a new set of vitals and have that as well. And then you would obviously be telling the physician exactly what your reaction was and the vitals that were documented. So we're going to save and exit there. So you can see that patient's been put on hold. You see this red reaction that pops up as well. and blood bank has been notified, and they see this reaction as well. They do get a reaction report on the blood bank end that they need to deal with as well. So you can see as I've been documenting and going along, you see all the little icons that show up here. And if we click on them, you can see that that first one is our transfusion detail, and our little teardrop there is our transfusion detail and for ins and outs. And then we have our little pens, and then we have our actual documentation of the scan checklist. And then we have our clock. And this is our view details of our directions, exactly what's going on with our product and where we're at with it. Q15, like I said, Q45, and then Q hourly. So now our patient, we still have that patient on hold. The doctor has said it's fine, you can resume that transfusion. So we have a button now has been lit up as well for us, so we can click on resume. And we're going to resume that right now and get that back into that patient. Gonna put that in there. Yeah, we're just gonna leave that for now. Okay, so we got it back to transfusing. So now we are going to let's end our red cell. So you can see at the bottom, we have the end button. I'm going to go in and document another set of vitals on this patient, because now we've been almost 3 hours, we're going to say, infusing, and I've already done a whole bunch of vitals on this patient according to our parameters. Okay, we'll just leave it at a few vitals. Okay, and then I'm going to end it. So when I end it, I have to say when I ended it. And again, you can back time this, because we know if we're actually in there ending and then we get called to another patient, it could be, 15 minutes, it could be an hour. So you can always, back time your end. You can see that the documentation that I have done on this patient showing that my volume of 267 is what I am saying yes has gone in, and I'm transfuse the whole product in, and the full blood product amount is 267. If you have wasted anything for whatever reason, and again, if it was a hold or an end early and for that albumin and I only had 50 mils in, then I would put in my waste here as well. If there was any other intake here, I would put in, if I had a normal saline running along with it, and I infused 50 mils here. So in saying that and mentioning normal saline, back it up even before transfusion, we'd have documented our IV, what that patient had, and documented an IV normal saline running on that patient. Or just if they had a saline lock initially and you were just doing a flush and then hanging that blood with the saline. But my patient already had an IV going. So that's why we moved right into TAR. Okay, so now you can see that the status now has updated to transfused, and that is now transfused. So that is great. So let's finish our albumin, and we'll end that one as well. And then I'll show you the EMR. Say we got the full amount in, and we will save that. So now you can see that both of our units are transfused. So if we flip over to blood bank, you can see now that it went from issued, it was over on transfusing, and now it has flipped over to transfused. So blood bank can see that both of these products have been transfused. You can see as well in the blood bank EMR that we can see that that patient had a reaction as well. So that all can see that. And then if you click on the little documentation, you can see our vitals that have been documented on each of those transfusions. And then we can go over to our INO, and we can see that both of our products have been infused, and the total equaling 367 for both products being infused. And that. So let's just close that, and then you can flip over. So throughout that as well, I didn't flip back to the status board, but you can see that it shows that they are both transfused. The status board did show all status is from ready. Then we saw it initially at issued. When we went down, we had already got the product and brought it up. It flipped over to transfusing while it was going, so all can see that it's being transfused. And then now it also would have showed hold when I put it on hold for the reaction. And then now it's showing as fully transfused. And you can see in quite bright red that we had a reaction on that one unit. And that is a transfusion.